Love music, love talk, love Wycombe Sound.
Monday Movies on Wycombe Sound 106.6 FM.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello and welcome to the Monday Movies podcast.
Oh, which you'll probably never hear.
Or see.
Because last
Last
week's
one's not out
still
yet.
isn't up.
Well, it's a double whammy then this week.
Oh, is it? Okay, a
Double
twofer.
whammy. A twofer. Now,
Fog off.
Okay, bye. If you're watching up here, that side, that's Duncan Strip.
Hello.
As you may notice there, he's not here.
Oh, it's
I know.
Tobi. Oh,
Yeah.
Just a disembodied voice.
He's
My
just,
Zoom unfortunately wasn't working today.
Just
Oh.
a
Just booted me
Toby.
out.
Oh,
So.
Oh, look, there's a lady.
There was an Amy
in
there.
the room with you. How exciting for you.
That was an Amy, yeah.
Oh, proving everyone's theories wrong.
How rude. Oh, no, I should point out, before we start the show, the first 20 minutes, visually, are going to look quite boring.
Because
There's a few issues.
we're not on it then.
No, so for the first 20 minutes, just going to be Duncan pull a pose. Just going to be that for 20 minutes, and then no, you can stop pulling the pose now. Duncan. You're funny. And then afterwards, it will kick back in.
Okay, cool. Well, that's housekeeping out of the way.
As always, like to start the show with a bit of housekeeping.
Hi. How are we?
Good, thank you.
Good.
All enjoying our little lockdown.
Oh, it's
still?
great. Fun.
Looks like a change of scenery for you, Mr. Davis.
I did a
Looks
bit,
like you've,
did a bit of painting.
Really, and decorating and furniture buying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
IKEA's open now.
Yeah, I know.
I really want to try their meatballs.
How dare you?
Have you never tried them before in your life?
No, it's on my to-do list.
The recipe's online. You can make your own.
They're not
I
as
know,
good.
but,
I've tried.
But yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't be as good.
I thought they were horrible.
Well, you're wrong. So
I
get out.
had them once and I thought they were disgusting. Tasted to me like they came out of a tin.
There's a joke there somewhere, but let's not go there.
What?
About
Something to do with balls?
yeah.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
Anyway, welcome to the Monday Movies podcast, episode number 12.
Hello. Well, Monday No Movies.
Monday
episode.
No Movies, episode 12, yeah. We've been doing it for a long time.
We
really.
have.
It's going to be a packed show today.
It is.
Because we've all watched tons of stuff for a change.
What have we
We have.
watched? Read us the list.
Oh, I deleted the list as I was... I've deleted my list.
Well, Toby, what have you seen?
I've finished Ozarks. That's season 3. I've watched Ready Player One. I've watched Knives Out.
Oh, I bet you love
that. Well, you'll see. And I've seen half of The Five Bloods. And what was the other thing? I think that was it,
I
wasn't
don't
it?
know.
Black Mirror, San Junipero.
Oh, sorry. Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Cool.
San Junipero.
And I have seen I May Destroy You, To Five Bloods, Artemis Fowl, Staged, and Hillary.
I have watched Staged, Artemis Fowl, Yes Man, and The Imagineering Story.
What a great film. Yes.
Wow, did I enjoy it, Toby?
Oh.
Wow.
We don't know.
Find out later.
Plus some film news and anything that we do not fit into the show because it's too packed.
Busy.
We will put into the podcast at the end. Toby,
Yes.
start the show, please.
It's Monday. No movies. Let's start the
Do
show.
you have to sound so bored? I mean,
It's Monday. No movies. Let's go.
That's better. Thank you.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Monday Movies on Wycombe Sound 106.6 FM.
It is 7 o'clock on a Monday evening and you're listening to Wycombe Sound. This is Monday Movies. Good evening. It's an hour of film chat brought to you by your friends at Wycombe Sound. I'm Duncan Strip. Joining me are hopefully Toby and Luke.
Hi.
Well, there we go. I feel we're going to have issues this evening.
Do you
I
think
don't know.
so?
Yeah, I don't know what's giving me that impression, but I feel we're going to have just a few technical snafus, as they are called by people.
By who?
Technical snafu.
I don't think I've ever heard them being referred to as that.
Well,
if I'm honest.
Google it. It's a technical snafu. It is a technical term.
Right. Okay.
Seriously, it is.
Well, we are kind of, because if you're watching online, if you're watching the video, then at the minute you can just see a lovely Wycombe Sound logo. But we will appear very shortly.
So not only are we on your radio and on your smart speaker, we will be on YouTube and on Facebook Live, so you can see. You can see my spare room for a change because I haven't got a background. You can see Luke, who's in a different room from usual.
I thought I'd mix it all up.
You can see Toby's wild and wonderful hair. which is marvellous. If you want to get involved, you can. You can call us. No, you can't call us. Don't call us, for goodness sake. Don't do that. You can email us, mondaymovies@wycombesound.org.uk. You can go to facebook.com/Wixo Monday Movies, or we are on Twitter as Wycombe Sound.
That's us.
How are we both?
Good.
We're okay.
Yeah, all good?
We are okay. We're okay.
We all understand the new lockdown restrictions that have been lifted, and we know where we're allowed to go and what we're allowed to do.
I'm just going to stay indoors. It just makes life easier.
Oh, okay. Toby, are you venturing outside more now?
Well, when it was sunny, I was, but not
now.
day like today. It's a bit dreary.
It is a little bit dreary. But, it's not nice.
Yeah, when it's sunny, I'll try and get out.
Excellent. Okay. Well, we're here for an hour to talk about films. Normally we would have a top 10, but we're not going to bother with that today because we've just got too much to cram in. So many film reviews and so much film news. We probably won't get it all done in an hour, but what we don't get to, we will speak about in the podcast, which will be available probably next year sometime.
Probably.
Because last week's podcast still isn't available.
No.
That's because it was so packed with goodness.
It's just too busy.
It was just too busy. So as well as the film news, we're going to have reviews, or we're going to try and cram in reviews of Da 5 Bloods, Artemis Fowl, I May Destroy You, San Junipero, Ready Player One, Ozark, Knives Out, Hillary, Staged, Last Days of American Crime, and The Imagineering Story. Imagineering?
Imagineering. I thought that was just an early review of Artemis Fowl. Then I Will Destroy You. Otherwise, being a bit early.
You're giving away what you thought of the film already.
No.
Okay.
Might be a positive. I Will Destroy You.
So we'll start with some film reviews. Then we'll have a little bit of film news, and we'll have some more film reviews. How's that sound to
everybody watching, because you can see us now.
Oh, hi. We're there.
Except for Toby, who might be frozen, but it's fine.
Toby is frozen. Either that or he's incredibly bored, and that's what he's just looking like.
I like that, though. I think he should just keep it as that.
Yeah, hello. It's a good look.
Hello, you're there, Toby. Don't worry.
You're there, Toby.
He's gone.
Oh, okay. You know, it keeps going in and out. So this is going to be.
We
fun.
can sort that out as long as we can hear you and you can hear us, Toby.
That's all that matters.
Yes.
Can you?
Yes.
You can. Good. Right.
Exactly.
So we'll kick off with we'll kick off with Toby, because something that I have been asking him to watch for, I would say, 3.5 years now, is an episode of Black Mirror that he's been ploughing through Black Mirror, and he's watched virtually every episode apart from the one that I told him to watch. Toby, you finally got round to it.
I have, yes. This episode's called San Junipero, and funny enough, it kind of reminded me of The Matrix. It's all about this same concept of being kind of going into another world, which is, you know, not your reality. And yeah, it starts off with like an 80s thing. They're in the 80s. You can kind of go into this world and choose, what age you are and what sort of time you want to be in. So in the episode, they go into the 80s, they go into the 2000s, and it's really interesting to see all the even clothing, like the different styles. But overall, I think as an episode, it was really, really clever. And I thought the two leads were two ladies, which I think was better than rather than having, a normal guy and a girl, which I thought was really clever. But, it is also quite a sad episode. It's
incredibly sad.
Yeah, it is. It is very, very sad. And I really didn't see the twist coming. It's funny, I was trying to look, in the first half an hour, I was trying to look out for so many things, but they don't really give too much away. And then I would say it's in the last half an hour that you really do find out about everything and understand the concepts. But it is a really clever episode, but it is very, very sad. So it is one of my favourites.
Good, excellent. Wow, I feel vindicated very slightly. That is San Junipero. It's an episode of Black Mirror, and it's available now on Netflix. Stay with you, Toby, because Ozark was something you'd watched the first 2 seasons of. Now you've finished season 3.
It is. So I am, like you, Duncan, I'm waiting for season 4, whether there'll be a season 4. That was the first thing I Googled after I finished the series. And they still obviously don't know, and obviously due to COVID and everything, it's on hold. But I mean, Jason Bateman, he directs a few of the episodes, and he plays the dad, Marty. He's the main Marty Bird, and I can't remember her name, but the lady who plays Ruth,
Laura Lynn. Ruth. Sorry, no.
Amazing accent, and basically the whole thing. So I started it about I'd say a year ago, maybe even longer, season 1. And then I don't know, I want to say, I want to say lost interest, but I don't think that was I just put it down. I just didn't really bother, keep watching it. And then you finish season 1 and season 2 starts to really, really build up, and you really get the ball going. And then season 3, which is the one I finished this week, was absolutely incredible. Every episode there is a problem at the beginning, and that might get solved. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And then there's an even bigger problem at the end of the episode. So every episode, you're seeing how the last episode's problem is going to be solved or not, and then also you've got a new one coming as well. But as you said, Duncan, the last episode I did not see coming. The final scene of the final episode is jaw-dropping, isn't it? Yeah. I don't want to, in case someone's going to watch it, I don't want to say too much, but there was a lot of things that happened, because obviously you told me, you said the last episode your jaw's going to drop, and a few things happened. I thought, is that what Duncan's talking about? I hope it's not, because obviously I was a bit shocked, but my jaw didn't drop. And then obviously this happened, and I was like, oh, that's what he's talking about. Yes. But no, I loved the show, and it was great to even watch the daughter and the son grow up. Because obviously I watched straight from the second series to the third series, and then they even more, especially.
I would say that the main problem with having children in a TV series, especially the son in this episode, is he did grow up rather quickly compared to the time frame that's supposed to have passed.
Yeah, exactly. Jonah.
So at the end of season 2, he just looks like a kid, and in the start of season 3, he's basically an adult. Yeah,
his voice has dropped.
Yeah,
and but no, as a series, I think. Funny enough, one of my other friends, he was watching the first series, and he's kind of trailed off like me and left it. And I texted him and literally said, "You need to finish it. You have to. It really, really gets going and picks up." And I thought Wendy's brother, again, I don't know the actor, and I won't ruin it, but I thought he did an amazing job of his character. But I just thought the acting, the chemistry between the characters, the script, it made me laugh a lot, especially Ruth's sassy lines. But overall, as a series, I highly, highly recommend it. Season 1 is, you just got to stick with it, but then season 2 and season 3 is just phenomenal, and I really, really did enjoy watching it. I really hope they do a season 4.
Yeah, so. I agree.
High praise.
You should watch it. It is very, very good. It's called Ozark, 3 seasons, and they're all available now to stream on Netflix. Mr. Davis, we haven't heard from you for 10 minutes. And
that's fine. I've been on for the last 3 hours. No one wants to hear from me.
That is true. But let's come to you, because you've been watching something that neither me or Toby have watched on Disney+. Right.
What's that?
The Imagineering Story.
Oh, the Imagineering Story. Yes. So
I was worried there that I'd got it wrong.
No, I was wondering. Well, I've seen 2 films that you've not seen this week, is what I meant.
Just the one on Disney. You're making this into an argument.
I know. So I saw the Imagineering Story, which is on Disney+, as Duncan said, and this is all about the Disney parks, and how Walt went from "I've got an idea" to "We've made it, let's make another one," to then him passing away, and his brother taking over to finish Florida, and then I think his brother died. I can't remember, or they wanted some help. Which is when they got some more people in to help, and they made Disney Euro, as it was then before it was Disneyland Paris. That's where I'm up to now. So there's 6 episodes, they're an hour long, and the amount of archive footage that they just happened to take, it's like they were planning for this documentary when they first started making Disneyland California, and then obviously Florida as well. It's really, really interesting, and all the struggles that they had and everything they went through. I thoroughly enjoyed it and found it really fascinating. And you get to see behind the scenes as well of Disney. And why is it called the Imagineering? Because the creative people behind Disney are called Imagineers. Or something like
Imagineers?
That. That would be the one.
Imagineers.
Yeah. So that's why it's called it, because it's basically their story of how they came up with the park.
Right, okay. And it's worth watching? Definitely. Highly recommend it. And how many episodes are there? 6. And are they, an hour long? I think they're like 55 minutes or something like that. Cool. Okay. So that is the Imagineering Story, available on Disney+. Something that's available on Sky that I watched this week, and I would recommend, is the 4-part documentary about Hillary Clinton. It's
yes.
just called Hillary. It's on Sky Documentaries, and it follows her. The documentary maker got access to, I think it was 6,000 hours of footage from her 2016 presidential campaign when she was up against Trump. So each episode deals with a separate part of her life, but also deals with the campaign she did in 2016. So half of each episode is contemporary and half of it is showing her history. And it's an absolutely fascinating program of a fascinating, strong woman. And it shows how hard it was for her to shake off an image she had that a male politician would have shook off in a second. But she kind of got stuck with it, and people just didn't like her. Men, women didn't like her. There's one part where they took a poll after, obviously, Bill Clinton is caught cheating with Monica Lewinsky, and Hillary Clinton decides to stick with him and stand by her man.
Yeah.
Her approval rating went down, but her husband's approval rating went up.
Oh, interesting.
And it just shows how the public perceive the different sexes in that situation. There's an interesting where she's with Joe Biden. I think it's not Joe Biden. I forget. It's another Democratic nominee. They were backstage before they go out for their debate, and two of her assistants are saying, "Is that the coat you're going to wear when you go out there? Are you sure you're going to wear those shoes while you're out there?" And Hillary Clinton makes the point. She says, "You're not asking him about his suit and his shoes and his hair." And she said, it's only women that get picked up on things like that in the political arena.
We both watched the Michelle Obama.
Yes.
And there was a lot of that in that as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Are you sure I mean, it was mainly from her brother.
Yeah.
Who was probably winding her up. But there was still a lot of that.
Yeah. This is a fascinating. It's 4 parts, 4-hour documentary. It's on Sky Documentaries, and it's really interesting. It does suffer very slightly from the same problem that Becoming, the Michelle Obama one, had, in that it's kind of all been approved by the Clintons. So,
yeah.
But you still get them to talk. She still does discuss the emails, the email account that she wasn't supposed to have that was investigated by the FBI. Bill Clinton still discusses the Monica Lewinsky affair. So it is absolutely fascinating.
Okay.
And
I met her.
Oh, did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Where's
Yeah.
the story?
I really, do you know what? I was at her book signing. I can't even remember why I was there. And,
To buy a book, maybe?
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I think I was just in this shop, and then it was.
I've walked into a bookshop.
What am I doing in here?
Her book signing, but I got to meet her for literally 5 seconds. She seemed nice.
She does come across as really nice. Yeah, she comes across as a nice woman, and same as Michelle Obama did. Although she comes across as a lot tougher than Michelle Obama.
Interesting.
And it is interesting all the time that you're watching her having her debates with what's his name, Donald Trump, and they're going through that campaign. You still kind of think she's going to win, even though she doesn't. You're watching it thinking, how on earth can he win this? Because he's doing everything wrong and he's being a right SOB. And yet, obviously, we know history proved us all wrong. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's called Hillary. It's on Sky Documentaries. All 4 episodes are available right now.
Right now?
Sorry?
Right now.
Right now?
Right now. If you want to go and watch them right now, you can watch them
Bye,
right now. Duncan, Luke and Toby with you through until 8 o'clock. Colin will be here at 8 for Chatsworth, and he'll join us in about 20 minutes' time to tell us what's on. Shall we have a little bit of film news?
Go on, then.
Another film is heading straight to Disney+. Now, we're going to talk about Artemis Fowl a little bit later, because that was the first big release that went straight to Disney+, and I believe Luke has thoughts on the film.
I have many a thoughts.
So the next film that's going straight to Disney Plus is another big film. It's Angelina Jolie's new film, which also stars Sam Rockwell and Danny DeVito. It's called The One and Only Ivan, and it's a CGI live-action hybrid, which was filmed at Pinewood Studios. It's about a giant gorilla that befriends some other animals. It's about a silverback gorilla who lives in a cage at the Big Top. He has grown accustomed to humans watching him through the glass and rarely misses his life in the jungle, but then he escapes. So it was going to be a big theatrical release for Disney. They can't see a place for it now, so they're putting it straight to Disney+.
Fair enough. I mean,
Fair enough.
I won't spoil my thoughts on
Please don't.
Artemis Fowl, but interesting. I've already got ideas about that film.
Okay, right. We'll come to that in a little bit. Now, remember Tenet?
Yes,
Yes.
the film that
And
wasn't
Christopher
moving.
Nolan's film, and it's not going to move. We're
No, not
releasing
moving.
this
Not
on
moving
the
it.
14th of July. Guess what?
It's been moved.
It's been moved. Warner Brothers and Nolan had been holding firm to the idea that his new film would arrive on the 17th of July. The current situation with cinema reopenings has forced a rethink, but only to the 31st of July.
I mean,
so
it's,
he's
Not long.
just moved it by 2 weeks.
but then, with how everything's working, by then it could have all changed.
It could have, but Mulan is still 24th of July, so Mulan should now come out first, and Tenet will come out the week
Interesting.
after.
Why do you think they moved it?
I can't see the point, personally, of moving it 2 weeks, because that's
No.
not going to make any difference
No, not
here
at
or
all.
there. Because whatever restrictions are in place on the 17th are still going to be in place on the 31st. So
Yeah.
I can't see why they've made that decision, but make it they have.
I mean, they get paid to think, so...
They do get paid to think, and we all know that big studios never make bad decisions.
No, not at all.
Don't we? So yes, so Tenet will be now released on 31st of July, hopefully. I still think it might go again.
Do you think it'll be pushed back even... Do you think Mulan will be?
I think Mulan's even harder because if the cinemas have got to enforce social distancing, a kids' film is going to be harder.
Yeah.
Because kids do tend to get up and wander around, and I think that's at least Tenet, which is an intelligent adults film. The people who go to see that would abide by the social distancing.
I mean, were they
Mulan-
predicting Mulan to do well?
I think they were expecting it to be a huge film. Yeah,
Right.
I don't think this is going to go to
No.
And this is the and we'll get to this when Luke tells us what he thought of Artemis Fowl. But the fact that the one and only Ivan is going straight to Disney Plus, but Mulan they're hanging on to because they want the theatrical, I think it tells you more about the quality of the film.
Yeah, I would...
Do you not think, Luke?
I mean, I don't want to spoil our review, but
No.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, going back to I keep saying Tenet, but it's not.
Don't say that.
David of Tennant.
Sounds Scottish. Tenet.
Tenet?
Tenet.
But yeah, I was reading an interview with Kenneth Branagh. Apparently, he had to read the screenplay more times than he ever has done for any film that he's been in, just to get the plot.
Well, there we go.
So I mean,
Is that
looking
for Tennant or for
Yeah.
Artemis?
Tenet.
No,
Tenet.
But looking from the I've watched the trailer twice now. I mean, it looks like a guy can see what's going to happen before it happens, so he can see into the future. But I don't know.
I
Probably.
love the trailer because you don't know
Yeah.
what it's about.
Well, that's my
So that is-
theory, but I've got a feeling
Yeah.
I could be very wrong. So
It's
I don't know.
my idea of a perfect trailer is it doesn't tell you the plot. So many
Nothing.
trailers these days give you the start, the middle, and the end. That to have a film that you're going to go in even after seeing a 2-minute trailer and not know what's going to happen, I think is really good.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll find out hopefully on July the 31st, but
Yep.
stay tuned because that may move.
Anything
And now
happen?
we have mentioned Artemis Fowl. So should we get this over and done with?
Give us the plot.
Okay, Artemis Fowl is based on the novels by Ewan Colfer, and he's an Irish author. He wrote these books for, I guess, young adults or slightly younger than young adults, and they are Harry Potter-ish, if you like. According to the plot summary on IMDb, Artemis Fowl, who is a young criminal prodigy, hunts down a secret society of fairies to find his missing father. I think that's quite misleading because at the start you don't know his father is a criminal. He is kidnapped, and then Artemis finds out that he was collecting these artifacts, antiquities, as it were. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to it. Carry on. Let's get through it.
And he has to try and find. He has to contact the fairies who live underground in another kind of world.
Yeah.
To try and find him. So he's not a criminal mastermind at the start. He's barely a criminal mastermind at the end, despite him announcing to the camera that is what he now is. The books, I've got to say, everyone I know who's read them and all the reviews online, the books are supposed to be absolutely fantastic. They've been trying to make this film for over 10 years, and it kept falling through for some reason. It has now come to the screen with Disney. It's gone straight to Disney Plus. It's directed by Kenneth Branagh. It stars Judi Dench and Josh Gad. It's had a lot of money thrown at it. Luke Davis, What did you think?
Pretty terrible is probably the polite version
Right.
of it. I really struggled watching this.
You're lost for words.
I am lost. I mean, you
Wow.
look at it, you go, it's a brand of film.
No.
Judi Dench is in it. You've got...
Judi Dench is in it.
Yeah, bit
Because
weird.
she talks like this all the way through.
It's like she's come off the scene of EastEnders. Yeah, so Judi Dench is in it, and Colin Firth is in it, Josh Gad is in it.
Colin Firth isn't in
Not
it.
Colin Firth, Colin
Farrell.
Thank you, Colin Farrell. And it's a bit like, this is... And again, everyone that I've spoken to, loved the books, think the books are amazing. And it's just like, surely they could have done a better job than this. It's just...
Yeah.
I don't know if there is anything, but I laughed at the end when he said, he looked directly in the camera and was just like, I'm a criminal mastermind.
Yeah.
And then walks off in I'm expecting fireworks to go off behind him. And it's just like, oh.
This is the kind of film that makes the first Harry Potter film look... Because the first Harry Potter film wasn't great.
No.
And if you look at it now, it's quite creaky. But what it was a brilliant film to create a
Open a
world
series.
and bring you into a world.
Yeah.
And this film shows how difficult that is to do, because this is a mess.
Yeah, it really is. There's no...
Very
I can't think of anything
very little of it looks real.
Well, this is the thing. It's the Lucasfilm CG company, and you expect high things from them. It was Industrial Light and Magic or something like that.
Yeah.
And it looks. I mean, some of the CGI is amazing, and some of it's awful.
Yeah, none of it gels. It's like 3 films that have been made and they've cut them 3 different films together, which don't go together. The acting is just odd most of the way through it. Most of the people in it. Quite why Judi Dench is speaking like she's smoked 40 cigarettes a day for all of her life. Yeah,
That's in order.
Yeah, you could imagine her in the Queen Vic telling people to get out of my pub.
Yeah.
Which is very strange. Josh Gad kind of does the same accent for no reason. The fairies...
I didn't recognise, because I didn't look who was in it when it's before I started watching it. And I was going, is that Josh Gad?
It is Josh Gad, yes.
Obviously, I knew that by the end of it, but yeah.
Obviously, this is designed to kick off a series, and
Right.
I can't see them making another one of these.
No. I mean, the problem is they're not, there's not going to be any, they can see, obviously, who's watched it and how many people have watched it, but there's not going to be, I don't think people are going to be begging for another one.
No.
They're going to be begging for a reboot from somebody else.
It's quite sad that the second word of the title is foul, because I think it was foul.
is
I just
foul.
think it is. It doesn't hang together. The script is weak. I don't think Owen Colfer had anything to do with the script. And you'd never know this was a Kenneth Branagh directed film.
No.
It's just like some, I don't know, production line Disney film. And I think if we'd seen it at the cinema, we would think even less of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would have been awful.
If you'd have paid £9 to see this on a big screen, I think it would have been dreadful.
They can kind of get away with... because they can't. It's not like someone's going to go, well, this did awfully in the box office, because there's no box office figures.
No.
So they're not going to have the big press of this is a bad film.
No.
If you don't watch reviews, you'll never know.
No.
And they don't have a 5-star rating on Disney Plus either.
No, you can't rate anything, can you? No.
So
lucky for Artemis.
Lucky for Artemis. Yeah. I mean, people were saying, have they read the books and things like that? The way, go on, Tobi.
All I was going to say was just I tried to read the books as a growing up, and I literally tried 2 or 3 times to try and read the first Artemis Fowl book, and I couldn't get into it, so I gave up.
Okay. Well, I'll leave the last word to one of the newspapers I saw, who their headline for the review was "Artemist Opportunity."
No.
Nice.
I mean,
Thank you.
I mean, 2 things to finish off with as well. One thing, the butler
Yes.
with his blue eyes.
Yeah.
I thought, he's going to be like some sort of alien. Never mentioned.
No.
He's just got if those are his eyes.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, they're not his real eyes.
No, I didn't think so. And the other thing is, there's so much potential with this film, by the looks of the storyline and what they were trying to do, that they just ruined it.
Anyway, if you want to watch it, Artemis Fowl is available on Disney Plus. If you've got a couple of 8 to 10-year-olds and you want to distract them for an hour and a half,
They'll love it.
It may do it, because it's bright and colourful and moves along at a cracking pace. But it's pretty dreadful.
Yeah.
It's, okay, but it's available now on Disney Plus. Well, we haven't heard from Toby now for a while, so let's go to Toby, who's been catching up. He's been watching. Oh, yes. It's like he doesn't watch anything for a year, and suddenly he's out of the gate. Toby, you watched Knives Out.
I did. Now I'm a bit worried to talk about this.
Oh.
Never start a review with that.
No, Now you got. Well, have you seen it, Luke? Can't remember.
Don't be silly. Ridiculous.
Right. Okay. But Duncan, you really liked this, didn't you?
Love this film. Yes.
Okay. Well, so the director, Ryan Johnson. Is that right? Is that his name?
That is. Right.
I think I'm not a fan of his work. Because this is the second film that I haven't been. Right, I'll skim over it and then I'll go into it. Basically, it's not bad, but I didn't think it was great. It was okay. I think the budget went on all of the cast. I thought it seemed so low budget. I think it just was shot really weirdly. I thought the script was a bit weird. Daniel Craig's accent was weird. I thought that was very strange. I think, because some of my friends had seen it, said it was amazing. I think I went in with really, really high expectations, and I don't know. I can't really put my finger on why I didn't like it. It really, really wasn't what I expected. I really do feel like they spent all the money on the cast, and then the rest of the film they kind of had to, use the rest of the budget for that they had. So
well, I'm horrified.
I don't know. Without ruining it, you're kind of given the story, and then you're given the main storyline. I'm trying to do this without ruining it, of who the murderer was, and in the back of my mind I think, right, it's too early, obviously this is not what happened. And then I was looking at other suspects out of the family to see who I thought it would be, but it just, without ruining it, I was like, I hope it's not this person, because that would just be stupid, and it did, and it was that person.
Well, I'm going to let you two fight this one out. Go for it.
No, I just want to say, the script, you say the script isn't good. I mean, it was Oscar nominated for its script. The script the script is incredibly clever. I love the way that the person who did it, who you can't guess from the start, it all works out beautifully. It's a classic Agatha Christie mystery. And you say about the way it was filmed, if you're talking about camera angles and stuff like that, it was filmed like an old-fashioned whodunit, which is a one location whodunit. I thought the acting was great. I thought the script was exceptional, and I thought the story was good. And I liked what it had to say about contemporary America, because the subplot with the maid is shining a light on the way that Latinos are treated in certain parts of America. So I liked all that. Yes,
it had good parts, but I think I just heard so much about it. I just went in with really, really high expectations, and I shouldn't have done.
Toby, can I give you a way of avoiding that situation?
Don't come on this show.
Watch it when it comes out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's a very
fair point.
If you'd watched it before, so I saw it, a preview screening, so before any of the reviews had came out. So, but I agree. Sometimes you watch a film weeks after it's come out, and if it's great reviews, you sometimes think, really, is that it?
I don't know. I think I think the main reason why I wasn't as keen on it was because it just really was not what I was expecting.
Okay. All right. Well, that is Knives Out. How did you watch that? That's available to rent.
I rented that on the PlayStation Store.
Okay, on the PlayStation Store.
Don't sign off, Duncan.
It's also available on Sky Store and Amazon, the Amazon Prime Store as well. We'll stick with you then, Toby, because you watched another film going back even further in time, Ready Player One.
Yes. Now, this is a Steven Spielberg film, which I did actually see when it came out back in 2018 and absolutely loved it. And it was on Amazon Prime to watch now. And I was surprised because I thought I'd have to rent it or buy it, but you could stream it for free, if you've got an Amazon account. So
Brucey bonus.
So I think it was on Friday night I watched it, and loved it. I really do love that film. I think the animation and the CGI of the actual, because most of the film is based in the game, in the Oasis is what it's called in the film, and I thought the animation is is great, and I think the storyline's fantastic, and I think I just really, really, it's just such a fun film to watch. And if you love video games, you definitely love this. So.
I wasn't as impressed. I saw it once when it came out the cinema.
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
Maybe it's because I've never played a video game, and I thought the whole thing looked a bit like a video game, and I wasn't as keen.
But is that what they were trying to do, though?
Probably, but...
So you're not a massive fan of overusing YouTube? Overusing CGI?
No.
Well, I mean, yeah, most of it's in the game, so obviously, and they're all avatars.
Well, I mean, I may watch it again because it's game-based. It may look better on a smaller screen, where you would normally watch a game.
Maybe.
Well, the funny thing is, you say that, but without ruining it, you know the race, the first key, if you can remember, Duncan.
Yes.
I mean that was amazing to watch in the cinema. You know, with the surround sound and the yeah. So it does work on a TV screen at home, but it was better cinematically experienced in the cinema. But no, I think if you do play video games, you will love this film.
And there's a lot of I think we said when it first came out, there's a lot of references that you wouldn't understand anyway.
Yeah,
I'm quite prepared to admit that
it's not a game for you, a film for you.
If it's video game based, it's going to go over my head, most of it, because I have never played a video game, unless you count Pac-Man as a video game.
I count Pac-Man as a video game.
I'll count that. Yeah, okay. But it's last thing about it is, you know, it's set in 2045, but all the soundtrack is 80s music. So I think that's good. You've reminded me that was one of the things that I didn't like.
The only thing I liked was the music.
You've reminded me when we reviewed it, and I didn't like the fact, why was everything 80s set?
Because the 80s are great.
But it didn't make sense for me. And also the whole Shining episode, I didn't get, because it's a film aimed at kids primarily. Who have no idea what The Shining is.
No, that's a fair point.
And that kind of annoyed me, despite how clever the Shining sequence was, because they recreated scenes from The Shining brilliantly.
Really clever, really clever. And I think the amazing thing is you do find out who the characters are in the end, but when you follow the main character, the guy, I can't remember what his actual name is, but when he goes into the game, he meets up with all of his friends, which are other avatars. So like one's a robot and one's like a ninja and stuff. But you don't actually know what they look like until much further on in the game, and it's very interesting to, you know, they have such a strong friendship, but they've never actually met in real life. I find that amazing. But sorry, very last thing about the soundtrack. I can see what you mean. I can understand what you mean, but it is great when they went on the dance floor and then the Bee Gees started blasting. You know,
I can't remember what my issue was, but I remember I had an issue with the fact that it was all 80s, and I didn't understand why in 2045 people would be obsessed with the 80s. That's like saying that us now should be obsessed with the 50s.
I see what you mean. I think the 80s works very well with like CGI game. I think I can see that. I mean, I've not seen the film, but I can see it working really well.
I'm sure it worked in the film, but I didn't understand why if it was set now, I would understand it.
Yeah.
But being set in 2045, I'm thinking, no, they're not going to be as obsessed in video games with the 80s as they are now.
I will get in contact with Mr. Spielberg.
Thank you very much. If you could, that would be good.
Very, very last thing. I love as well the detail to the real world. So because this Oasis, which is this game that everyone is playing and everyone's literally spending money on, literally putting all of their money into this game so they can make their character better in the game and win more and whatever. The real world looks awful because no one's putting money or time into, you know, keeping the real world clean or anything. It's just people in literally like boxes,
shipping containers
piled up. Yeah, shipping containers. Thank you.
I also think I found that quite annoying because I knew that the shipping container scenes, which is quite a big bit of it, was filmed, I think, in Croydon or something like that, and I thought it did look a little bit low rent.
Right. Okay.
But anyway, that's Ready Player One. It is available to stream for free if you have an Amazon Prime. Coming up after the news at 8:00, Colin Besley will be here with Chatsworth, and he joins us now. Good evening, Colin.
Good evening to you. Thanks very much. Thank you.
How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Are you well? Are you all well?
All well.
Good.
We are good.
Yeah. Were you queuing up at 7:00 this morning to get into Primark, Colin, or?
I wasn't, I must confess. No.
Good.
I don't need anything urgently in that department.
Well, it's non-essential stuff, so you don't need anything non-essential.
There was a woman on the news earlier who said she'd completely run out of bras, and I thought, I thought.
Are you throwing them away afterwards?
Do you not wash them? What?
Well, I mean, I've been wearing the same underpants for 11 weeks, so I'm not going to need to go to Primark for quite some time.
And the only reason that he had to is because he had to go to a doctor's appointment. That's the only reason why he changed them.
Yes, I didn't. I had to strip down to my underwear, which I thought was perfectly normal. And Lucas suddenly said, "Why did you strip down to your underwear?" And I can't explain it, I'll be honest.
Were you not asked to?
I was asked to, and then Luke
walked
asked
in
me
the
what
room.
she did. Luke asked me what she did, and I told him, and he said, "Why did you need to be in your underpants for that?" I was like, I really don't know.
Are you sure they
felt right.
asked? Did you?
It's
you,
just
you
yes, it's just
mishear?
that when you're in a doctor's, someone in authority says do something in their setting, you kind of just do it, don't you?
As long as it was in the waiting room. As long as it,
No, and then I made it worse by saying to Luke that I had to strip to my boxer shorts and lie on the couch. It wasn't a couch, obviously, and we couldn't think. It's called an examination table. But, yeah, there we go.
And
Anyway,
then,
Colin,
wait
what-
on. There's the last
Yeah?
bit of that story. Duncan
that?
was just laid there while the doctor went back onto the computer and just went, "Am I still meant to be laid here?"
Yeah, I lay there for about 5 minutes talking to her, and she didn't realise I wasn't getting dressed. And she said, "You should be getting dressed now."
she thought you'd gone.
Yeah, it's all very weird while wearing masks. Odd. Anyway, Colin, what is coming up on Chatsworth this evening?
Oh, more of that, please. Yeah.
Well, we keep saying you can have us on, but we don't get the invite.
Don't get the invite.
yeah, but we should continue this after 8. But no, in terms of other comedy, less spontaneous than that, we'll be looking a little more at the St Andrew's Bookshop Comedy Festival, which actually starts tomorrow and is on for the next 3 nights as well. If you were listening last week, which you probably weren't, you were doing your podcast at the time. But you've got an
We listen again, Colin, don't we?
Obviously,
Of course.
all the time.
Yeah. Phew.
Listen, what?
But we had Steve on, who's one of the organisers, and Paul Carenza, who's a comedian who you might recall writes for Not Going Out and Miranda, among other things.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that and other things to make sure you don't miss it.
And good music, obviously.
Of course, yes, some of which borrowed from Drive Time. I must give it back.
Most of it, if I'm honest.
Okay, that's Chatsworth with Colin up after the news at 8 o'clock. Colin, thank you very much.
been a great crowd tonight.
Yay! Colin Besley.
Colin Besley, ladies and gentlemen, available for weddings, bar mitzvahs, and kids' parties.
Okay, really.
I think Colin would be great as a stand-up comedian.
I do as well.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
I do. Well, when things get back to normal and we're doing our what's the worst that could happen as stand-ups,
Are we still doing stand-ups?
we're still going to do stand-up.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be there.
No, actually, I don't want Colin to do it as well.
No, Colin can
He'd
be our...
really good.
Colin, just so they feel like they haven't wasted money, Colin can come on afterwards to do some actual comedy.
Have you got a favourite joke? But I think you need to have a favourite joke, don't you?
Do
We
you?
were chatting to Steve last week about his...
Duncan probably can't say any of his favourite jokes on air, though.
Oh, no, I don't have a favourite joke really.
Because it's always good to have one in your back pocket, isn't it, in case you need one in a situation.
I mean, I like Luke, and he's a bit of a joke, but I'm not sure he's my favourite.
Moving on. Thanks, Colin.
Moving
Bye-bye.
on. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Colin.
Okay, it is 7:45. We've got some more film reviews and a little bit of film news. Anything we don't get to, we will put in the podcast, which will be available in 2024.
2045. Just after
Sorry, 2045
Just
on
after
your
Ready Player
usual
One.
podcast supplier. We'll move on to the other big release of the week, because yes, Artemis Fowl is known as a big release. This one is on Netflix, and it's the new film from Spike Lee called The Five Bloods. This is set in the present day, but during the Vietnam War, 5 friends who are in a squad are taking part in the war in Vietnam. Their leader is Chadwick Boseman, who is killed on active duty. They don't know where his body is, and he doesn't get brought back to the US. And they also, his 4 comrades, hide some gold bullion that they have stolen. And in the present day, the 4 surviving members return to find their fallen comrade's body, but mainly they're going back to reclaim the gold. So this is told part in flashback, and the bits in flashback are told in a different frame ratio and a different film stock. So everything in present day is filmed, like you would normally see it.
On a red.
And the other, when they're going back in Vietnam into the past, they use a different ratio,
Cinemax.
and they film it on 16 millimeter. Is that
Correct?
Yes, 16 millimeter. And unlike Martin Scorsese, who for The Irishman for Netflix de-aged his actors for the older scenes, for the scenes in the past, Spike Lee doesn't do that. The 4 actors actually play themselves. So Chadwick Boseman, who's playing their leader, is still obviously the young Chadwick Boseman, but the 4 actors who have aged are there as aged actors. He doesn't recast younger
okay.
actors, and he doesn't de-age them. It's kind of it's Spike Lee doing what he does best, which is making a statement on race in the US and how it works historically. For example, 11% of the US population were African American at the time of the Vietnam War, but 33% of the soldiers sent to Vietnam were African Americans. So this is and it's a very timely film for what's going on in the world now and the Black Lives Matter. This is kind of equating the American army as kind of the slave, the way they use blacks as slaves. And it's on Netflix because every studio turned it down, apparently. He went to every studio. And after The Black Klansman, which is the first film he won an Oscar for.
Which comes out on Netflix later this month, I think.
Which is out on Netflix later this month. Apparently every studio, rather than chomping at the bit to produce his new film, they turned it down.
Interesting.
Netflix didn't, so that's where it is. I'll go first then, Toby, because you've watched half of it, haven't you?
Yeah, so apologies.
That's all right.
Half it yesterday, and I thought I'd be able to get time to finish the last hour and a quarter, an hour and a half, and I haven't, so apologies.
Okay, well... It's well made. It's Spike Lee, so you know it's going to be well made. It's very well acted by a really, really good cast. It takes on Spike Lee's usual topics of race and diversity in the angry way that he normally does, which kind of grates on some people because he is like an angry pensioner shouting at you until you get the point. But you know, I think as recent events have proved, some people need shouting at and they need it rammed down their throat. What it tries to do is tries to marry a drama on race relations and the way race is looked on in the US with a kind of Treasure of the Sierra Madre action adventure. So on the one hand, you've got these black American GIs going back to Vietnam ostensibly to confront their past, which is the drama side. But on the other hand, they're trying to find a crock of gold that they've hidden, and that's the adventure part. Both parts work fairly well, but as a whole, it does feel a little bit like it's two films stuck together, and they don't gel quite as well as they should. I mean, some of his Lee's polemic is quite heavy-handed. He's not known for his subtlety.
Do you think the fact it's in like two different ratios and different film type, do you think that also makes it feel more like two films than one?
No, because...
Or do you think that works well?
No, because the modern part is the two films.
I see what you mean. Okay.
In the modern day, they go to Vietnam to confront their past, and then while they're there, they're looking for the gold. So it's those two parts. And yeah, some of it seems heavy-handed, but that's Spike Lee's way, and it's because he's passionate about his subject. Yeah. And, you know, he does get his usual history lessons in there. You get flashes of Martin Luther King and other black leaders, and you get little potted histories of what they've done. And, you know, and I heard him interviewed on the radio today, and he just said, well, you know, I think people should know about it. And he goes, yes, I want to entertain people, but these are things that people should know, and a lot of people aren't talk about it. So in the end, I think the two halves don't go as well together as they could. It has an awesome soundtrack. The music in it is absolutely fantastic. But as is usual with Netflix films, it seems, it's too long.
How long is it?
It's 2 hours and 35 minutes long, which, I mean, it's not Irishman length, but there's still no need for it to be 2.5 hours long. No. But it's still worth a watch. It's still good. It's still Lee operating at the top end of his scale. You know, he had a few barren years, but he's with Black Klansman and Defy Bloods, he's come back, and this is well worth watching. Toby, what did you think?
Well, again, I've only seen half of it, and I think the four characters get on really well. And I have to say, it's so real, their kind of chemistry. I literally forgot for a second. I thought it was a documentary on the guys. That's how kind of realistic it was. But it's the thing. I mean, right at the beginning, it shows you footage from like the Vietnam War and everything, and there's a famous picture of a guy being held at gunpoint, and you actually see the footage of him getting shot, which I thought I couldn't believe they showed it. To be honest, have you
never seen that before?
I've only ever seen the photo. I've never actually seen the footage, so that shocked me a lot. I couldn't believe they showed that.
And also the religious people setting fire to themselves in the street.
The monks.
You see footage of that as well, which is pretty horrific.
Yeah, but it's I mean, I'm enjoying it so far, and it's really good, and as I said, the chemistry and the acting is really good, and I do like all the leads. They're really good. They bounce off each other really well.
I guess one thing I'm complaining about the length of the film, as we did about The Irishman as well. But I suppose because this is not theatrical and it's not going to be seen in the cinema, and it's on Netflix, you could treat it like a miniseries and watch it in 3 bits.
Do you think that's why longer films on Netflix that are that length don't work as well? Like, because in a cinema, it sometimes doesn't feel like it's 2.5 hours, 3 hours long in a good film. But where if you're at home, you might be distracted by something, or you might have a clock in front of your TV, and you're like, God, it's 4 o'clock. I only started this at 3. I think it's more noticeable that a film might be taking longer to get into the action or dragging a bit more. Where if it would be in a cinema,
I think everything seems yes for everything you've said.
Thank
but
you.
Then it's quite nice.
Can we just notice that Duncan said yes to something that I said?
Yes, exactly what you said. On the other hand, it is nice that big directors like Martin Scorsese and Spike Lee, who's the Irishman, and this one, no studio would pick up. It's nice that Netflix are saying, right, there's a bunch of money, go away and make the film, and we don't actually care because they don't have to worry about how many screenings they're going to fit into a cinema. If you want to make a 3-hour film, make a 3-hour film, and if people want to watch it in three bits, they can.
And let's be honest, how many subscribers has Netflix got?
Millions and millions and millions.
So they know that they've got a lot of people that will see either the trailer, they'll see the image, or they'll see the video on front-face Netflix.
Just a quick question. The Irishman, for example, when they showed that in cinemas, was there an interval?
No.
Do you think that will start to be? I mean, if films are going to be longer and longer, essentially, do you think they'll start to introduce intervals?
I hope not.
I don't think there'll be films as long as. I mean, the only reason The Irishman was shown in any cinemas was so it qualified for awards.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And that's why it didn't get a wide release.
And I've seen, when I saw Kinky Boots, it's weird. In a theatre, it's fine having an interval. Having an interval in a cinema is odd.
Yeah, that's because the seats are so small in a theatre.
Well, the
legs have gone to sleep after a
That's true. I just I'm sitting here then.
So that is The Five Bloods, which is available now on Netflix. Another new film, and it's got I think a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. Another film that came out on Netflix on Friday is called The Last Days of American Crime. This has got a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So I don't want to spend too much on it. It is, and I watched it thinking it can't be that bad. It's got to have redeeming features. And it really doesn't. And Netflix picked the wrong time to release the film because talk about misjudging a mood. It's basically about America in the near future. A new, not an app, but a new thing has been invented. When the government switch it on, no member of the public will be able to physically commit an illegal act. And so a group of criminals decide they're going to rob the vaults of... what do you call it? The place that makes the money, the mint. They're going to rob the mint of all their money and get across the border to Canada on the day before the app is switched on. It's horrible. It's got a terrible script. It's over 2 hours. It's nearly 2.5 hours long. It's nearly the same length as The Five Bloods for no apparent reason. Every character in it is absolutely horrible, vile, despicable. So you've got no one to root for. You've got no sort of audience conduit, as it were.
Did you finish it?
I finished it with a bit of fast forwarding.
Well, that's never a good sign.
It really is. I mean, this is somewhere in the middle of this. There is a 90-minute, really good B movie that John Carpenter in the 1980s would have made into a fantastic film. For it to be 2.5 hours long is absolutely shocking.
Absolutely.
And if it's Martin Scorsese or Spike Lee and they say we're making a 2.5 hour film, fine, let them go away and do what they want. But this is directed by Oliver Megaton, who directed one of the Transporter films and some other straight to DVD stuff. And if he said he's coming in with a 2.5 hour film, I'm sorry, you just say, no, mate, no, Oliver,
no,
Oliver, cut it out. So whatever you do, do not watch.
Can I have some more time?
No.
Last
Days of American Crime. It's available on Netflix, but do not waste your time because it is absolutely terrible.
Don't watch it.
Nearly it, but should we quickly talk about Staged?
Or we can do it in the podcast.
We can do it in the podcast. What would you like to talk about?
We got any news?
We got some film news, yeah. A little bit, yeah.
That's more important.
Warner Brothers has shifted their release dates.
4.
Sorry?
4.
4?
No, what 4?
Oh, I see. What for? Okay.
For
No, not what for. What for?
The Matrix 4, funnily enough. Godzilla versus King Kong, Tom and Jerry, and
There's a Tom and Jerry film.
Yeah, get
Right.
excited. And the new version of The Witches, directed by Back to the Future's Robert Zemeckis.
Is that a live
they've moved-
action Tom and Jerry?
I don't know. Are you getting excited about Tom and Jerry?
I'm getting worried that they're going to ruin a classic comedy.
Oh, it's a shame. Anyway, Godzilla versus Kong Godzilla was supposed to arrive November the 20th this year. That's now gone to May in 2021. Their new take on Tom and Jerry, which you'll have to look up because I don't know if it's
Live action animated comedy.
Okay, was supposed to be on December 23rd. It was their big Christmas film. That's now gone to March the 5th. And The Matrix 4 was initially planned to hit cinemas on May the 21st, 2021. It's now gone to April the 1st, 2022.
Oof.
So
Well, I suppose
almost a year.
they still haven't started any production though, I suppose.
Yeah, so all of those have moved.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, indeed. And also, Wonder Woman has moved as well. So, yeah, Wonder Woman, it's already moved from its initial...
Being directed
June
by Matt Healy.
No, it was... What?
Because the 1975 moved their album backwards many times.
It was planned to be released in June this year. That was moved to August on account of the coronavirus pandemic. It's now been pushed back yet again to a fall release date. Fall is autumn, in case you're wondering.
Thank you.
Is now October the 2nd, 2020. So we're still getting it this year, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
But it's going back a lot later.
Ah.
So things are getting moved that have already been moved, and even Tenet, as we said earlier, which swore it wouldn't move.
Will never move. Do you
has
think
now
that's
moved.
What's the word I'm looking for? That was basically the film company went, we have to move it.
Well, like we said earlier, I don't understand the point of moving it 2 weeks.
Well, no, that's very true.
It just seems an odd decision to make, unless there is a cinema chain in America which has said they're not opening until that date.
Good point.
So it could be that, but I don't know.
Just quickly, Bond and Quiet Place 2 haven't moved, have they?
No, Bond is still November.
Neither is Mulan.
Blah, 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 whatever, and Mulan
Black
is still
Widow.
the 24th. So yeah. Anyway,
There you
everything's
go.
moving. But cinemas should be opening middle of July for us.
As it stands on
Fingers
the
crossed.
15th of June.
Or, I don't know, masks to the ready.
Masks to the ready.
That's
I like
what
that.
I said, yeah. Masks to the ready. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for listening. We'll be back same time next week, reviewing something which I'm going to give as homework in the podcast. To Luke and Toby. So tune into the podcast. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Toby.
Thank you, Duncan.
Colin is up after the news with Chatsworth. I'll be back next week at the same time and also on Sunday for Sunday breakfast. Tune in if you can because it's quite a good show, I think.
What a show.
Well, that was jam-packed,
We've
wasn't
got
it?
things to talk about still.
Busy.
Got stuff left.
Got
Got stuff left over.
Stuff left. We've got stuffing.
Blimey. What should we start with then?
Well, we hinted at the beginning of the podcast.
Yeah.
Can we start with Yes
you've
Man?
You've seen a film called Yes
I've
Man.
seen a film called Yes Man.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
a bit worried about this.
Now,
Why?
this
You didn't...
is a film which I've heard about and have wanted to watch for a very long time. And I was on the Netflix.
On the Netflix? Okay.
And came across it and went, let's watch it. I
Big build-up.
I still don't know how I feel about Jim Carrey.
As
an actor.
Like, yeah, I think if you don't like him, then
I think at the beginning of a film, I'm just a bit like, oh, it's got to be. But by the end of it, I'm just like, he's amazing. I think in all of his films, I've done that. Yes Man. How do I feel about Yes Man? Well, I absolutely loved it.
Oh, good.
Right, moving on. What else?
Hang on. Back off. I laughed. I cried a little bit. There was a little bit of crying. It was good though because I feel like in a lot of rom-coms, it's quite obvious what they're going to do because all rom-coms have sort of the same. You know, they get together, they have an argument, and they then get back together yay. But with this, I knew it was going to come at some point, but I didn't know whereabouts it was going to come or how it was going to happen. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it worked really, really well. I like the appearance of the book author, Danny Lawrence. Am I right? Wallace, thank you. I thought that was really nice. It wasn't just like he walked past the screen, he was in it for quite a long time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it. From 2008, I'm glad I've watched it.
Yeah,
good.
I really enjoyed it as well.
Duncan?
I think the thing with Jim Carrey is if you like silly, over-the-top humour, then you're going to love
I don't feel like he's over the top much in this film, though. I feel like in bits he's like full-on Jim Carrey, but for most of it, I think he's quite normal, if that's the right word.
No. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I agree. I see what you mean. Yeah, it's not like Ace Ventura where it's just mad.
I can't remember because it was so long. I only saw it once at the cinema.
Homework for you, sir.
Yeah.
Watch it again.
Okay, I'll watch it for next week.
Okay.
That is Yes Man, which is available on the
Netflix.
Also, I've watched all of it. Luke has watched 3 episodes of it. Toby, I expect you to watch this for next week because it's only 6 episodes and they're only 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I reckon they're going to put this on because EastEnders is going down to 20 minutes. Oh, there's a lot of swearing in it. Never mind.
Yeah, no, there's lots of swearing.
Yeah.
This is staged. So this stars David Tennant and Michael Sheen playing versions of themselves who before lockdown were supposed to be taking part in a play, which has obviously had to be cancelled because of lockdown. But the director suggests that they can rehearse over Zoom so that when lockdown is ended, they have got a play ready to go into a theatre straight away while everyone else is twiddling their thumbs. And what you're watching is 6 15-minute episodes of them talking to each other, talking to the producer and the director, the producer, and a couple of guest stars who pop up to surprise you. I thought there's been a lots on TV of Zoom stuff.
Yeah.
Programs are using Zoom, and it's getting quite tiring. I think we need to get back to normality. But this, I think, does it brilliantly because it's very believable.
I don't think as well. It's not overly like.
So is it real life or is it acting?
It's like an alternative reality, basically.
Yes, it's acting. They're playing themselves, but they are acting.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like
what I'm saying is they're not going to actually come out of lockdown and put this play on.
No. Well, maybe they will. Who knows? No.
Do you have to explain the what acting is to Toby?
I'd hope not. I think it's great. It's brilliant.
It's really
it's
funny.
Hilarious.
It's very cleverly written. I assume a lot of it is improvised because a lot of it seems to be improvised.
I think they had the script, and the problem was though they didn't know how to play themselves. So Michael would ask David, what would I do here, and Michael would do the reverse.
Okay. There's an actor who turns up in episode 3, I think it is, who was supposed to be the person that Michael Sheen has taken over from, who dropped out, which is a big surprise.
Mother flipping good actor,
big star. And then in the last episode, unfortunately, it's given away in the opening credits.
I'm going to close my eyes.
If you watch it, close your eyes for the opening credits of the last episode, so that the guest star pops up on the Zoom screen to surprise you, like it does them. And it's a massive star pops up.
And another thing, what I like is at the end of each episode, they make a joke about each other, or they'll say something, and then at the beginning of the next one.
They've changed their names and the order that the names are in. Yeah, it's very clever. It's very witty. It's nice and short. You can watch it all. You can watch it all in an hour and a half.
Yeah,
all 6 episodes.
Is it on YouTube?
No, it's on iPlayer.
BBC. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the iPlayer. All episodes are on there now. It's well worth watching. It's very, very funny.
Very, very good.
Yes,
and it's got David Tennant in it. And
wow, David Tennant. Yes,
David Tennant, and he's great.
And when is he coming out? Anyway,
he's got a wife and kids.
I got to admit, he doesn't look well.
I reckon he was
incredibly thin.
I reckon I noticed that, but I reckon he was going into something because his hair's long, and his hair's normally only long when he's going into something Shakespearean.
No, because his hair isn't long.
Is it not?
No, that's he does mention this in the last episode when the guest asks if that's his own hair, and he says no, it's extensions. So he has got extensions in. Although why you'd keep them in while you're in lockdown, I do not know.
Maybe to get used to them?
I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, it's called Staged. All episodes are available now on the BBC iPlayer. Also on the iPlayer, but only first 2 episodes, is a new series by Michaela Cole She made Chewing Gum for Channel 4 and E4. This is called I May Destroy You. It's a 12-part, half-hour drama about a woman who thinks she may have been sexually abused on a night out after her drink was spiked. It sounds awful and it sounds heavy. If you've seen anything with Michaela Cole in, it's not. It's incredibly clever. It's very, very modern because it's aimed at a younger audience. I think it was made for BBC Three, so it's aimed at a sort of teenage, early 20s audience. It is so well written, so well acted. It makes you laugh at things you probably shouldn't be laughing at. I don't know where it's going to go because she doesn't want all the episodes released in one go. She wants people to watch. I think they're doing 2 a week. Okay. And she said that's how she wanted it released. She didn't want people to binge it. She wanted people to have time to think about it before they start on the next episode.
Well, it's good publicity as well, I think. If people post on social media, I think this is going to happen, I think this is going to happen, rather than if you binge it all, then it's good.
I think this is really good, very important television. It is so well made, and I think you should watch it.
And actually, going on to what Toby was saying about people hyping about if it's only once a week, and I think and I've heard a lot of other people saying about this from other reviewers and such, that's why The Mandalorian didn't do as well over here as it did in America and other places that got Disney Plus first, is because they had the hype of Baby Yoda, whereas over here, because of the internet, everyone had already seen Baby Yoda, so there wasn't the hype factor. And I think that's why The Mandalorian Series 2 might do better here, because it will come out at the same time.
Which hasn't been delayed. It's still on course for October release date this year. Anyway, I May Destroy You. Are you going to watch it?
Might do. I might.
I think you should. It is really, really good. First 2 episodes available on iPlayer. The second 2 episodes are actually on tonight. It's on a Monday night on BBC One. That's it for what we've been watching.
Well, the only other thing I was going to say is Normal People. But should we talk about that next week?
Right. No. I'll tell you why I haven't finished it yet. Because
you don't like it.
No, we're absolutely loving it. But it's based on a novel. We're kind of watching it as though we're reading a novel, so we're watching it in chunks. And I don't think I'd be enjoying it as much if I watched it all in one sitting.
Oh, okay.
But watching it in half-hour chunks, I'm really enjoying it, and it's kind of like reading a good book and taking your time with it and not binging it. So I am thoroughly enjoying it.
Okay. Well, have you finished it, Luke?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Sweet. Should we talk about it next week then? What do you think?
I will have finished it by next week.
Let's talk about it next week.
Okay, lovely. All right, we'll talk about it next week.
I've realised I watched another film.
No one cares, Luke. What?
I'll only very quickly on it. 10 Things I Hate About You, which is on Disney Plus. But the reason I want to bring this up is because it's not a film that I expect to be on Disney Plus. I think it's at 12, but it's a very questionable 12.
It's also Shakespeare.
It is, yes, Taming of the Shrew.
Taming of the Shrew, yes.
Thank you very much. I'm shocked that it was on Disney Plus.
Well, I think they just go by the certificate, and as long as it's a 12, you get away with it. Starring the late Heath Ledger, of course.
Ledger's in it, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 10 Things I Hate About You. That's available on Disney Plus.
It is. I think it's on Prime as well.
Okay, good. Homework for next week. A film I want you both to watch, and you've got to promise me you're going to watch it. It's available on Netflix for free.
Lovely.
You might have already seen it, Toby. I don't know.
Okay.
I watched this when it came out 14 years ago, and I thought it was a stunning piece of cinema.
Okay.
Watched it. I think I may have watched it once since then, but I haven't watched it for a long time. Watched it last night, and it is a bona fide masterpiece.
Okay.
And if you liked 1917, Toby, some of the scenes in this will amaze you.
Okay.
Some of the tracking shots and the filming in this is absolutely stunning. There's a scene in a car which you just think, how the hell did they do that? And there's a final scene which is about, I don't know, it looks like it's over 10 minutes long, in a war scene, which is absolutely incredible. The film is Children of Men.
Okay, no, I haven't seen this.
Stars Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, and Sir Michael Caine. It's a dystopian thriller about set in England in a world where no one can have babies. All women are infertile. And what it does is it creates, sometimes dystopian things and things set in the future, you don't believe there's anything outside the little bit that you're seeing. This creates a world that you actually believe in, that actually exists. It is absolutely, some of the shots in it are absolutely stunning. And I think, if I'm correct, let me just check. The director, I think, did Gravity.
Right.
I'm going to check for you. Man looks something
Please
up
check.
On the internet. Yes, so it's directed by Alfonso Cuarón. Now, I won't tell you what the last film he directed because that will just put you off. So let's just let me just tell you, he made Gravity
what else did he make?
And Roma. But forget Roma.
Right, okay.
Is that what I think it is?
Yeah,
Yes.
the silent movie.
Forget Roma. Watch this. It's available to watch for free on Netflix.
Okay, done.
Okay, yeah, I'll watch it. Now,
And if you don't think it's a masterpiece, don't bother turning up next week.
okay, won't see you next week. Now, I do want to just something that will make sense if you've watched the whole thing, but when you first watch it, you're like, why is that there?
Why is that there?
Your other half, Duncan,
Yes.
has just put a picture up of one of his latest creations,
Has he?
which is a koala.
Oh, yes. One of the
nice.
little, what's it called? It's called a,
I don't know.
what are they? Macaron.
Macaron. So
It's a
I'm
macaron.
gonna use that as Toby's photo for this week's Monday Movies.
Oh, okay. Fabulous.
So that will now make sense at why it's there at the beginning, but
Can
we
I just
don't
say,
refer to it.
I have since eaten that koala.
Have you, poor koala.
That is dead.
So if you're wondering why it was there at the beginning but we didn't reference it, it's because I've only just decided that.
Cute. You're looking good, Toby. At least you haven't
You
got
are.
red hair.
No, that's true.
That's true.
What else was I going to say? We've got one bit of film news left, which has been in the news all this week. Gone with the Wind was taken off of HBO Max in America.
Yes.
And most of the media used this as some kind of clickbait and didn't tell the whole story. They just said they've taken off this film because of its racist overtone, its terrible depiction of black people. That's not quite true. It was taken off so that they could add something to the start of the film. So that when people do watch it, there will be something to contextualize. They're not cutting it. They're not deleting it from their system. They're just going to contextualize so that there'll be a little educational piece at the start saying this was made in this particular year, blah blah blah. Because otherwise, we're going to be in a terrible situation where every artistic.
Look at the comedies on the UK comedies that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, every sort of artistic strand is going to have to go through with a fine-tooth comb and take out stuff. And obviously, you have to think certain things were made in certain eras when times were different. And yes, you can't bring back the black and white minstrel show for goodness sake, because that was wrong.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it ran for so long. But yeah, so a lot of newspapers and a lot of online sources were saying that Gone with the Wind had been removed. It hasn't. It's just been taken off while they contextualize what's in it. But I think you can expect to see that happening to a lot of films.
Yes. But then, do they do that with the comedies as well that have been taken off? Do they put something at the beginning saying...
Little Britain, they're just taking off because I think that was a lot of things. That was
a lot.
Depictions of transgender people,
Yeah.
depictions of disabled people, of coloured people. I mean, they covered all the bases,
They did.
to be honest. But the episode of 40 Towers that was taken off, the Germans episode...
Oh, yes, off
Again,
UK TV.
I think they have taken that off just to contextualise it.
Yeah.
So they're not actually going to.
But
ban it.
going with Gone with the Wind, Lady Antebellum
They've changed their name.
changed their name to Lady A.
Yes, I didn't. And then
Why?
they've kind of drawn attention to it themselves.
Yeah.
I don't think many people knew what Antebellum was.
I had no idea. No idea.
But apparently, what is it? It's a. It was something to do with the Confederates.
Yeah,
the
it
Confederacy.
depicts this. Hang on. Gone with the Wind depicts the antebellum South right before the Civil War and what happens afterwards. So it's a tie in there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Bit of political film
History.
news.
There you go.
And but it's another one. It's another thing to add to the statues thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Whereas the whole Black Lives Matter movement, in this country at least, seems now to be obsessed with what's on TV and films and whose statue is up,
Yeah.
rather than getting representation and equality for black people. It just seems to have moved away from what
It's
the point
interesting
they're
how
trying to make.
there's different points in different countries.
Yes, whereas in America it's still all about representation and equality. We seem to be
Please.
obsessed with Little Britain and statues.
Yeah.
So it's very strange.
It's all very weird.
It's all very weird. It's the world gone mad. Just when you thought the world couldn't get any worse, guess what?
It has.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, on that,
anyway.
no.
Oh, we can't leave on that note,
Oh,
can
okay.
we? Toby, tell us something interesting that's upbeat to leave on.
Oh, God, you put me on the spot.
We can't leave on Gone with the Wind. And
No, that's very
Little
true.
Britain. No.
Upbeat and interesting.
You got you wrote a new song that me and Duncan are in.
Can you imagine?
I could get my bongos out for you.
That sounds weird.
Oh dear.
Honestly, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
One of you two can jump in at any
Duncan
time.
getting his bongos out. Let's leave it on that.
Yeah.
All right
let's leave
then.
it
Well,
on
can I, on a positive note, can I just say we got through this whole thing with no audio technical issues?
Audio, strong
Well,
word there.
Audio technical issues.
Visually was a nightmare. Facebook had a meltdown.
I mean, if I'm going to come clean, Toby, you're too good looking, and I disabled your Zoom.
I'll take that, but
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Well, there we go. That's this week's show done.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for listening.
yeah, thank you.
I mean, you'll obviously be listening to this in the future in 2025 or something like that.
Something
when it
like that.
eventually lands. So
Christmas.
yeah, hope you enjoyed it.
Hope
the world's okay.
I hope the world's a better place.
Yeah, hope everything's cleared up.
Hope so.
Let's
Yeah.
hope so.
Anyway, goodbye everybody.